Hello everybody, you tuned to Radio Card Game. Today I will bring a quite late analysis of the new Thunder Dragon archetype that will come out in Soul Fusion late October this year. This archetype is based on one of the most iconic and oldest card of this game history, Thunder Dragon itself. It is a Thunder type fusion based archetype that with both light and dark monsters, which gives the deck the ability to synergize with chaos cards. I will talk about later. Before jumping into the review, I would like to point out one important restriction that all these monsters have. You can only use one effect per turn and only once per turn. Even though you may already know him, Thunder Dragon itself, which gives its name to the archetype as a whole, is a level 5 monster that provides free folders for fusion summoning the boss monsters by pitching itself to add up to 2 copies of Thunder Dragon. As main fusion material and straight +1, a free half for sure. And a free half is its dark counterpart, Bolt Thunder Dragon. As a quick effect, it can add another copy of Bolt Thunder Dragon by discarding itself. If it's banished or sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Thunder Dragon card, not just monster, from your deck to your hand, except itself. Quite useful to keep the engine going and always have the necessary pieces in the right moment. Also, being always live, it's the main card that will let you summon the fusion monsters whenever you want. For recursion, we have a couple of level 6 monsters. Bestial Thunder Dragon, the dark one, lets you add a Thunder Dragon card, again not just monsters, and accept itself of course, from your banished pile or graveyard to your hand. If it's sent from the field to the graveyard or banished, it lets you special summon a Thunder Dragon monster from your deck, even itself, that will go back to your hand during the end phase. While this effect is important to always have Bolt or Origin, which I will talk about later, as quick effects in order to trigger one of the fusions, the first effect is useful for a comeback in the following turn. For this reason, I would recommend playing it in 2 copies. Its light counterpart, Avian Thunder Dragon, can revive a Thunder Dragon monster from your graveyard or banished zone, except itself, by discarding it. Key piece from the main starting combo of the deck lets you reborn the fusion monsters too if they've been summoned with a spell card. With the second effect, you can shuffle whatever cards, not just Thunder Dragon ones, from your hand to the deck and draw the same amount. Even though it's not the strongest one, a quite smart effect if you ask me, since it lets you exchange useless or even dead cards for something maybe more useful and generic, such as hand traps. Being an important combo piece, I suggest you to play it as a free of. Origin Thunder Dragon, which I named before, is the only normal summon you want to commit in the deck, and being a level 1 also lets you go straight into Link Rebel and add a copy of itself, because it has been sent from the field to the graveyard or banished. As a quick effect, it can discard itself to boost the attack of a Thunder Dragon monster from you control of 500. The main purpose of this effect is to trigger Thunder Dragon Lord, the boss monster of this archetype, during your opponent's turn. As the only normal summon of the deck, you can play it as a free of, but you can cut it down to 2 in a more combo-centric build. Let's talk about the 2 boss monsters of this deck. They are both fusion monsters that can be summoned either properly or without polymerization following the requirements, and they are respectively called Super Bolt Thunder Dragon and Thunder Dragon Lord. Super Bolt is the easiest to summon since it requires you to have activated the effect of a Thunder type monster from your hand and dribbles just a non-fusion Thunder type monster on the field. It prevents your opponent from adding cards from his deck except by drawing them, and it also has a built-in protection from destruction by battle or card effect by simply banishing a Thunder type monster from your graveyard. It is important to know that this is not a trigger effect, so your opponent cannot chain cards or effect to it, and moreover triggers the effect the monsters you banished, as long as you didn't use them already of course. Lord, instead, even though it requires you to banish a Thunder type fusion monster from the field and 1 monster from your hand, is more proactive card than just a walking floodgate. Whenever an effect of a Thunder type monster activates from the hand from your opponent's 2, so that can come in handy in the mirror. You can pop a card on the field. Even if it doesn't target, it is a when, not an if effect. It means that your opponent, since he has the priority to respond, can chain a card or effect to the activated effect of a Thunder Monster in your hand to prevent your Lord from destroying a card. But on the other hand, this effect also triggers during the damage step, which is relevant thanks to Origin. This card is definitely your main monster you want to end the game with. But of course, there are no fusion monsters without a fusion spell. Thunder Dragon Fusion lets you summon a Thunder type fusion monster by shuffling the material from the field, graveyard, and or banished zone. The ability to shuffle everything back is really important, since it lets you retrieve your used resources in the grind game, and we use cards like Bolt, Origin, and Thunder Dragon itself, since all of them search for themselves. As a second effect, it lets you add a Thunder type monster from your deck by banishing itself from the graveyard, except the turn it's sent there. With this effect, you can add whatever Thunder type monster, including the Kaiju Jeizukiru and Batteryman Solar, which is a powerful touch card that opens up a lot of plays. Overall, Thunder Dragon Fusion is without any doubt a good card, but you don't want to see it in your fast hand. Actually, is stronger as a top deck, since you won't use it, and you can still search it and even recover it with Bestial anyway. I will use it as a one-off. Next come the two trap cards. The 100 Thunder Dragons is a Din Call of the Undead that not only special summon the targeted monsters, but also all the copies of the monster from your graveyard. However, you cannot special summon monsters while those monsters are on the field, except Thunder type. Even though it doesn't look like that big of a restriction, it prevents you from summoning link monsters like Boreal Dragon or the Nightmares when needed. Being a trap card and alongside with it, having an effect that the archetype already has in the form of Avian, I don't find this card useful, so I wouldn't play it at all. Thunder Dragon Streamer, on the other hand, is a continuous trap card that prevents the negation of the activated effects of your Thunder type monsters, and once per turn, if a Thunder Dragon monster is summoned, lets you target and destroy one spell trap card on the field by banishing a Thunder type monster from your deck. This effect is not an hard once per turn, so if you have two of them on the field you can destroy two cards instead of just one, but I doubt that will have a come up. Actually, despite its good effects, both of them I mean, this card cannot be protected by any other card of the archetype, as it is instead with the Legacy Archetype for example. Also, this deck is aggressive and doesn't really want to go in the grind game. You cannot play this card in more than one copy because you don't want to see it too often, but at the same time it's not good as a one-off because it sucks drawing it at top deck. But you can still search it with Bolt whenever you want. I wouldn't recommend playing it to be honest, but if you like it, I suggest to put it in just as a one-off. Overall, this archetype is quite powerful if you ask me, and I wouldn't be surprised if it will become a competitive presence in the OCG scene, since Soul Fusion has just been released there. Even though the monsters all have high levels, the discard effect lets you still commit into the field. Testing it out, I acknowledge that the Thunder Dragon cards are not enough, and that it needs other generic cards to work, or even engines. The first two common cards you should definitely play are Gold Sarcophagus and Batteryman Solar. Both of them act like a searcher, but while Solar needs another card to work with, mainly Bestial or Avian, Sarcophagus lets you straight trigger the effect of any Thunder Dragon monster. Solar also creates a token on the field that lets you summon the new Thunder type link monster Kaminari Summer Vacation. If you send Thunderclap Skywolf with Batteryman Solar, and then you summon Kaminari Summer Vacation, during your opponent's turn, you will be able to summon back Skywolf and basically Raigeki your opponent. Other two interesting engines that you can also play with the Thunder Dragon archetype are Brilliant Fusion Package and Invoked Engine. While the first one sends a Thunder Dragon monster to the graveyard and put a free monster on the field ready to be used for a link summon or even as a tribute, the second lets you protect the fusion summons of Superbolt and Lord thanks to Magical Meltdown, and fusion summoning with invocation will banish the Thunder Dragon monsters, triggering their effect. However, while testing, I noticed that the invoked engine is not optimal, since most of the time, if you do not open with the right cards, you summon either an invoked or a Thunder Dragon fusion, clogging the extra reserve. Lastly, since the archetype's effect trigger when banished, and since the monsters are both light and dark, you can also play cards like Blackluster Soldier or the most recent and maybe even powerful Levionia, the Primordial Chaos Dragon. To not keep rambling too long, I will talk about the different builds and their strengths and weaknesses in another video. For the time being, I hope you enjoyed this guide, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and most importantly, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Tell me your ideas about the Thunder Dragon archetype and what do you think about it. Will it be a competitive viable strategy or not? I'm Radio Card Game, thanks for watching, and I'm out.